Oh, a little bit. I know you look at the agenda and you say 50 minutes and that's all she's talking about. Well, I'm not going to talk to you for 50 minutes. I've got some people from my area coming in to talk to you about Target X. So don't think, wow, we're going to get out of here quick. No, that's not going to happen. Okay. First of all, thank you. Thank you for all the work you do to support our students. As you know, my area is student services and student success. So without what you do for the students, we can't do what we do. And what we do impacts you. So we're tied, even though our reporting lines are a little bit different. You report to up through Dr. Adie and my staff, you know, is student services, student success, marketing, which is a new area that was just added to me, and institutional accountability and research, as well as the library. So I mostly have the student support services areas. But I am excited to say that I'm almost to 1 year at working at CTC. So February 1st, I'll be 1 year. So it's the fastest year of my life. I've learned so much this year about what CTC is and what it does. I had no idea when I signed on. And it's good. It's a good thing. I learned a lot. So thank you. Thank you for having me. What I'm going to talk about, it's a little bit out of order, but I want to talk about from the wider area down to our local area. So the wider area is SACS. How many of you know what SACS is? Yeah, that's our accrediting body. That's who we have to answer to. And it stands for the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. And then they added the COC at the end, Commission of Colleges. So now we're called SACS COC. We always just say SACS. It's easier. Recently, Mr. Yiannopoulos, Dr. Adie, Robert Stacy, who many of you know, he's taught with us as an adjunct for a long time, and now he works for Institutional Accountability, and we're so happy to have him, and myself. We went to the SACS conference and spent 3.5, 4 days there, and learned a lot about what we need to do moving forward. And in the process, I was able to get information to refine our process for submitting our substantive changes. We recently submitted a substantive change for some of our dual credit locations, as well as substantive change for our fire science administration. We're waiting to hear. That was submitted within hours of us getting off for Christmas break. I took it to the post office and mailed it, so I haven't heard anything back, and I don't expect to, because that could take over 6 months to get information back on. We're embarking on the logistics, AAS, and certificate submission. And I don't know if you're aware, but in order for us to offer things, we have to get approval from SACS. Anything that's a change from what we're currently offering. We can't just dream something up and say, hey, we're going to do this. We have to get approval from them. If it isn't significantly different from what we're currently offering, then we don't. And there's different margins that I can play with on that, but logistics is significantly different from anything we're currently offering. So we have to do a sub-change for both the AAS and the certificate. Without the approval of SACS, we can't get financial aid for courses and programs, and we can't get VA. So that's one of the big reasons we need to get this stuff approved, aside from just being able to offer it. Although we get authorization from the state, from the coordinating board, that's still not enough. Then we have to go to SACS. Then we go to the Department of Ed, and then VA. So it's a long process. So when we want to come up with a program and we develop all this and we do this, still build in quite a long timeline before we can actually offer it to our students. One other big thing about SACS, before I got here, way before I got here, in 2015, you went through a reaccreditation. Every 5 years we have to do something. Guess what? We're in 2018 now. When's the next one then? 2020. So we'll be embarking on getting ready for that. One of the things we've been getting ready with are the faculty qualifications. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But you'll be seeing communications come out not right away, but in the future, about what we need to do to ensure that we're ready for the 5-year. The 5-year isn't as intensive as the 10-year. It's more of I submit everything, they review it, and if they want to come see us about something, then we have to wine and dine and do all that fun stuff. That's the bigger, the regional area. And now let's talk about the state, the coordinating board, and our Texas legislature. They've passed several bills and that directly affects you. How many of you are familiar with fields of study? Have you heard of the term field of study? A few of you. Fields of study have been in play for quite a while in the state of Texas, and it's on the academic side, and what they are a group of courses that the state recommends we teach. That's all. That's as far as it's gone for many, many years. Well, there was a House Bill 2628 that passed that now enforces fields of study, backs fields of study, as well as programs of study. Now, they're not saying we have to or we must offer what is designed in the list of courses that make up a field of study, but they're making it more and more difficult for us to not. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the field of study is and what the program of study is. So, for instance, in the programs of study, they have set up programs of study for construction trades, general drafting, and occupational therapy. And they're working on emergency medical services, architectural drafting, respiratory care, dental hygiene, radiologic technology, and HVAC. Some affect us, some don't. So I want to read the exact words from the House bill to you so that you see what the impact is. A student enrolled in a board-established program of study who transfers from a public junior college, public state college, or public technical institute to another public junior college, public state college, or public technical institute that offers a similar program, not the same program, a similar program, regardless of whether the institution has adopted the board-established program of study, the student shall receive academic credit from the institution to which the student transferred for each of the courses that the student has successfully completed in the program. Unless otherwise required by SACS, the student may complete the program of study at the institution to which the student transferred by completing only the remaining number of credit hours the student would need to complete the program of study at the institution to which he's transferred. So what that's saying is, let's say a student was taking an EMS program at Temple, Emergency Medical Services program at Temple. And they do the program of study that was designed by faculty, okay, at the state level, brought in to design this program. And let's say there's 8 courses in this program. I have no idea. They complete 6 of them at Temple. They come to us and say, I want to complete my EMS here at CTC. Whether or not those 6 courses are in our program or not, we have to look at that, take those 6 courses that they already took, and come up with only 2 more that would allow them to complete. So what they're doing is they're pushing us all to adopt what? The statewide program of study. The purpose of what I'm saying here is we need you guys to get involved. And when I send out the information to Jan Anderson about the openings or the opportunities for you to serve at the state level, we want to nominate as many people from CTC as possible to serve, because we need your input at the state level as well. You heard Mr. Yiannopoulos mention earlier about how he's serving at a state level. I serve at a state level. We need more of you involved in these program of study developments, as well as the field of study. And I'm going to read you something about the field of study in a minute, because program of study is more on the workforce side. The field of study is on the academic side. So let me read you what they say about field of study. If a student successfully completes a field of study curriculum developed by the board, that block of courses must be submitted in transfer to a general academic teaching institution for that institution's lower division requirements for the degree, must be substituted, not submitted, substituted, in transfer to a general academic teaching institution for that institution's lower division requirements for the degree program for the field of study into which the student transfers, and the student must receive full academic credit toward the degree program for the block of courses transferred. Now, this works more for our students transferring to university. So what the legislature is very concerned about is the fact that students take courses, they get 60 hours from us, and then they go to university, and the university says, well, we'll take this and this, and we're going to put these things into electives, but they're still going to have to take the full program to get their area. That's not going to happen anymore. They are really, really coming down hard on the universities. And if we find out that a student is in a situation like that, let me know, because Rex Peoples, who's the deputy commissioner there, or no, he's the assistant commissioner, he's just itching, waiting to get some of them, okay? He wants to nail them and fix it. So, and I hope that's not recorded. Anyway. But he said, he goes, he wants to fix this for the students' sake. And it all relates to the 60 by 30 TX. Because what's the goal of that? Student completion. So we want to save the student time, money, and we don't want them to lose credit hours. So it gets more to the completion goal of the state if everybody's in alignment here. So the field of studies, let me tell you a little bit about what's coming and what's in place of the field of studies. Same kind of thing. If we adopt the field of studies, it makes it easier for students to transfer in and transfer out. And there's a little bit of talk about, since they're reducing our formula funding for enrollment in courses and increasing completion funding, that they're going to tie completions in field of studies and programs of studies to our funding model as well. So that's even more reason for us to adopt the field of study and programs of study that are statewide. So the ones that have not been re-reviewed that have been in place since 2015 are business, commerce, electrical and electronics, engineering, and communications. The recently completed field of studies are Mexican American Studies, that was completed in July of 2016, nursing was completed in July of 2017, music, July of 2017, architecture, July 2017, and the 4 engineering areas in July 2017, mechanical, electrical, civil, and chemical. Currently, they're working on, and these people have already been assigned, psychology, biology, kinesiology, and exercise science. Marilyn, are you in here? Yes, she is on that. Have you met yet?
No.
The beginning of February. Very good. Thank you for serving. Criminal justice, business administration, and management. Upcoming fields of studies are finance, marketing, English language and literature, history, political science, and social work. Planned, after they do those, accounting, computer science, information technology, sociology, economics, mathematics, management information systems, radio and television, and health and wellness. So are we covering everybody? Almost, huh? The legislature mandated that the coordinating board complete 25 field of studies by January of 2019, and they are on track for that. I just listed 33 to you. So they plan to get all of these done by 2019. So it's not in the future, it's now. So that's what's happening at the state level for curriculum. I'm going to talk about Senate Bill 810. This is effective September of last year, September 1 of last year. And it's all about open educational resources. So the state is recognizing the need for us to move to OER. There are 15 other states as of November that have enacted policies about textbooks and cost of textbooks with publishers and utilizing open education resources to reduce the student costs and working with publishers. And the Senate Bill 810 states that the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board must administer a grant program to support OER and a feasibility study for state repository of OER resources. Now, when I was at the liaison meeting, that's this book, in November. It was a 2-day liaison meeting. They said that they're going to work with OER on this grant with K through 12 first, rather than a higher ed. And I kind of thought, why is that? And then they explained, because they want to get the students prepared in K through 12 for being able to utilize and expect to be able to utilize online resources and not expect to purchase $200 textbooks. So what is that setting us up for? Okay, we're going to have to go there. We're going to have to do this. They also had in this Senate bill requiring each institution of higher ed to include with the course schedule, and we haven't necessarily done this yet, so I'm going to start looking at this, a list of the required and recommended textbooks that specifies to the extent practical certain information, including whether the textbook is OER or not. So we're going to have to, as of last year, we're supposed to be listing whether or not a student can get their textbooks for free. It also requires that the college bookstore publish a textbook list with a course schedule on the internet, which we do, but provide a search function so the student can search for free textbooks, so that they will search for a class that has a free textbook and enroll in that. So do you want students in your class? Can I say more? The other thing, it says that the section of a course requires or recommends only OERs. We have to mention that, not just a portion of it. And the searchable list of courses and sections that require or recommend only OER. So they kind of repeated themselves. And then we also have to list the availability of courses and sections of courses that require a separate, rather than the books, the sections that have OER. So guess where we're going, guys? I know I've talked about this in a couple of other meetings with department chairs and about OER, and I know that one of our areas discontinued using OpenStax and went back to regular textbooks, but we're going to have to move in this direction. And Dr. Adey and Dean Anderson and I have talked about possible plans and possible things that to get you involved in how we can move in a direction that will still support what you do as well as support our students. It's where we got to go. So I hate to bring that news to you. Okay, now really even more so on a local level, our strategic plan, our previous strategic plan expires in 2018. We're going to have to do a new one. So you'll be getting more information, if you haven't already, from Dr. Hackett and Robert Stacy about moving forward with our new strategic plan. I want to thank you for participating and helping our students over in the Student Services building. What you do over there makes a great difference. Our students have to wait a long time, and what you are doing over there to help them is saving them time. So I appreciate the time you spend over there and what you do to help the students get registered. So give yourselves a hand for working over in Student Services. Thank you. Thank you for that. Over in Student Services, they, in financial aid, they awarded $32,444,804 in financial aid last quarter. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And that was since September 1 of 17. So that's quite a number, and I guess that also plays into what our business office does under Michelle Carter, because they have to handle all that. But financial aid has to process all that, so they're working their buns off over there doing that. And another good thing that I was surprised about is 50% of our students do register via Web Advisor. I'd like to see that number higher. I thought it was lower, but I'd like to see that number higher. 32% are physically registered by a CTC employee. So you say, what about the rest of them? That math doesn't work for you math people. The rest went through like a Go Army Ed portal or something like that. But I'd like to see that number raise in the Web Advisor registration, and we're doing things in Student Services to help streamline the process of getting enrolled and registering. So our team over there is working diligently. And thank you for participating in the first fall graduation. It was a massive success. If you didn't get to go, please go to the next one. The next fall graduation will be at the Killeen Civic Center. I think that we wanted to try to move the fall graduation local and try it a little bit closer to home. But at that graduation, we had over 180 students walk. Isn't that great? But last quarter, we overall, 987 credentials were awarded from Central Texas College to students. 640 associate degrees and 308 certificates. And then we had other occupational certificates. That's all I had to say, I believe. I wanted to bring up Barbara Merlot and Julie Starkey, the new Target X implementation. I wanted them to talk about this because it will affect you. It will be a new transformation for this institution. A lot of things are riding on Target X. As Barbara, you said, what did you say the other day that was so funny? That Target X is the solution to everything. Everybody seems to think, and that's what we're kind of moving forward. Everything. Oh well, Target X will do that. Target X will do that. But it's
we just have to figure out how to make
it. Exactly. So they're going to talk to you about how we're figuring this out and what our process is. So thank you.
All right. Do we know? Okay. You know I have slides. I'm really gonna. I want to make sure you guys know. Right here. Know kind of a general overview, but obviously I'm going to try to talk through my part. Oh, sorry, my date didn't get changed. My part fast. This is not exactly what department chairs saw, just in case y'all are thinking you can snooze through this, especially her part. So I just want to give you like a broad overview, and I'm hoping that Julie has the most time because she's going to talk about the things that are going to impact you right away. So like Dr. Garrett said, Target X can really do whatever we want it to do. We just have to have a plan, and then we have to figure out how to make it do it. Huge learning curve on this. It is much more, it's not what you call commercial off-the-shelf software. It's kind of like you figure out how you want to do, what you want to do, and then you have to go and with a combination of Salesforce and Target X figure out how to do it. So we are getting help from them, but we're building a lot. And just in case you're wondering, IT has been amazing through this process. I don't think they or we had any idea how hard this was going to be. Especially not me. I told Dr. Garrett one of my big character flaws is I oversimplify everything, and I'm finding it real difficult to oversimplify this anymore. So it is going to allow us to fill in gaps in communication. We had Hobsons, we were doing emails. This is going to allow us to integrate text messages and do a lot more from the retention side. We can automate some workflows, so if we want to assign people to do a task, and I'm not talking about you guys, we can do that in this system. And we can auto assign students to like academic advisors, and Julie will talk more about the Success Team end. This is like what I kind of am guessing today. Everything is taking way longer than what we thought it was going to. Originally we were going to have the new application online by the end of December, but we just didn't have an opportunity to test it as much, and Shannon in admissions is spearheading that. It's 90% there, but you know they have to do things right now like register students, so we're taking a little break, but definitely by the end of March, hopefully by the end of February. It doesn't affect you guys that much. It's not going to be that much different, but it is probably going to be easier for the students to use. The recruitment communications that we do, registration reminders, responses to inquiries, things like that, we're rolling those out now. We launched a new inquiry form on the website. It's not pretty, but it works. One of the things Target X focuses on is mobile friendly. So everything is built to be mobile compatible first, and that's really the way our students look at things. Those were working January, February. I don't know exactly when we'll have the prospective student portal, but I'm guessing around summer 2018. That's going to give us an opportunity to have a student apply and then go somewhere that says these are the things you need to do, rather than they get this long email. In addition to the email, they'll be able to go and they'll see as things get checked off, their transcripts received, so forth. There's an event creation appointment system. Julie's folks were struggling with that yesterday. Sometimes things work one day and not the next. And but hey, technology. And that's kind of ongoing. We're only going to use it for specific events that we want to track attendance for. And Julie will talk about the early alert system and the success teams. And then we also are going to have an opportunity to build a current student portal, which I think will kind of take some of the stress out of students trying to find things on the website. It'll also allow us to customize messaging for specific students. So if a student hasn't registered yet for a certain term or they have a hold, we'll be able to notify them on that portal when they first log in. And all that's what's possible. How much of it will get done this fiscal year, we'll see. There is also an opportunity to have a little more user access with Hobson's. It's really been like 3 or 4 people always doing everything in there. Doesn't mean anybody else is going to necessarily have to do the work, but what it does mean is other people will have access to look at students in there and see what communication they've received. This is going to be really handy for advisors, and at some point the success team members will be a part of that as well. Just to give you an idea, this is kind of what the sign-in screen for our application looks like. We will have, this is like an example of a prospective student portal where we can do RSS feeds with tours and so forth. And this is another example. These are actual emails that we've already got in the system, scheduling to run. These are our prospective student communications. As you can see, they look, well, if you've ever seen a Hobson's email, these look a lot different, mainly because they're built to be mobile friendly. And this is actually yesterday. We sent out our first initial inquiry. We had like 70 inquiries in a week, which is normal for this time of year, less than a week. So this is an example of what kind of reporting we get pretty much immediately. We know how many opened it. As of yesterday afternoon, it was up to about 35% open rate, but these are people who actually ask for information and we're giving it to them. And then this is just kind of an example of event creation and appointments. There is functionality for advisors or faculty advisors to use this to schedule appointments and to send embedded messages that say check my calendar and make an appointment, and it can be compatible with Outlook. So again, these are all things, shiny, wonderful things that it can do. We may not get to this year, but we're definitely going to be using the event creation system. And
turn it over to me.
That's it for me.
Okay, I want to talk to you about the student success side of TargetX, because I think it's going to affect you immediately. Through TargetX, we can do a lot of things. Barb has mentioned several things, the upcoming student portal. The Student Success Center, she has mentioned, I'm going to talk more about that at the end. What we're calling it is our Student Success Teams, and that we will be creating, each student at CTC will have their own set of success teams based on their set of circumstances. And those are going to be the people that help get them from enrollment to graduation. And we're going to use TargetX to help make that happen, and I'm going to explain a little bit towards the end. Obviously, appointments and events are a way that we can use this. The big thing that you're going to see up front is helping us identify at-risk students. We already have an early alert system. We've had to change it because that was done through Hobson's, and so now it's going to be through TargetX. And it's very critical. You guys are our eyes about what's going on with students. And we need you participating in that process. We need you sharing information with us. So we've kind of made some changes, and I'm going to go over that with you as well. Through this process, we're going to be able to fine-tune how we communicate with students, what we say to them at different points in the process when there are issues, that kind of thing. So those are all good things on the horizon. I want to stress that the goal of all of this is retention. It's also helping students be successful. And we're going to focus on two things Initially, I'm going to focus on the early alert process, and then followed by the student success teams. Those are going to be our big emphasis that we really focus on here in the coming months. We submitted a survey out to all of you all, trying to get information from you about the early alert process, what you liked, what you didn't, and several faculty participated in it, and thank you for doing that. You guys gave us great information. Thank you. We have to make changes in the way that we do it. You know, the way that it used to be is you got an email from our communications coordinator over in SSP at the 25% and the 50% mark in a semester, and you were asked to provide an alert if there was somebody of concern in your classroom based on 2 issues, attendance and poor performance. We can't do that like that anymore. Target X does not allow us to do it that way. It's going to be done differently. It's going to be a form that you fill out for the students. There's going to be not only a location on the website where you can access the form, but you will be prompted at 2 points in the semester to fill that out. These are some of the areas now that you will note to us about what an issue, what kind of issues students are having, because what we need better information about what it is. And the students were telling us when they were getting the copy of the alert, they didn't really understand when it just was marked, you know, poor performance. Well, what exactly does that mean? So now we're asking for you to be a little more specific for us about what that might be. And these came from some of the feedback that you gave us and looking at other schools, what they do. You're going to have a primary area where you can mark the primary concern that you have, and then there will also be the same list, and there can be a secondary. So you can mark up to 2 areas of concern. I had hoped that we could have a multi-field where you could do multiple things. Unfortunately, because of the way the information is tracked in Target X, we can't have a multi-field, and so you have to have a primary and a secondary to do that. If you need additional areas, the good thing about Target X is we can go in and make changes to these forms way quicker than we could have ever done in the past. And one of the things is we will be soliciting your feedback on that so that we can do that. There's also going to be a comment section on the form. Please utilize the comment section for us and explain what's going on. If it's missing work, if you can provide details about what exactly a student is missing, that is great. Again, we're just needing more information to be able to help the students and enable for us on our side to triage what it is we need to do for the student to help them get through this process. But these are some of the areas. Who can do an early alert now? Not just faculty. It is going to be a form that's on the website. So now any staff member, it can be a faculty not related. You just have a relationship with the student, but something is bothering you and you want to submit something. Because it's a form, it's going to be on the faculty to staff form side. You're going to be getting an email with the link specifically about where it is. But now anybody can actually fill one out. Again, you can fill it out at any point in the semester too. You do not have to wait to get that email prompt from SSP. If you have a concern, second day of class, you can submit one on this student. So you're no longer, waiting for that email and that prompt. You can do it at any point in the semester. You are going to get a prompt though at the 33% and the 60% point in the semester. That is a change based on feedback that you guys gave us. Said the 25% wasn't working because you were just giving a test. You don't have the information, and so we needed to make some changes on that. Really, that's just to help, just to encourage you to do it. But again, I want to stress, you can do it at any point in the semester that you have a concern about a student. What's going to happen when a student gets this alert? And I kind of want to walk you through. As I mentioned, it's going to be a web link that you'll fill out on the student. I'm going to show you a copy of it. You are going to receive a copy of the alert that you submitted on the student, so you're going to get an official copy for your record so you can make sure that you have that so that you know that you submitted that on the student. The student gets an exact copy of the alert as well. So that's what you need to understand. They need your comments. They need to know exactly what they're missing or what's going on, but understand the student is going to see an exact copy of the alert that you have submitted. The student is going to receive an email that gives them some basic instructions about what to do with the alert after they receive that alert, and some basic resources and things like that. You too now are going to get a copy of that email so that you can know exactly what that student did receive that. So you're going to receive those two things every time you submit on that. Once it comes into our area, we will triage it and try to figure out what other things need to happen. And that's going to be done by the student success area, and that's kind of where the student success teams come into play. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes in just a second, because it may become an assignment to a student success team member to do some follow-up, to do some help, to do in order for us to get the student through and to solve some problems. But anyway, so that's how it's going to work. I don't know if you can really see this very well. I'm sorry it didn't print out well, but this is kind of what the form, this is what the form is going to look like, and it's not, I think it's difficult to see, and I apologize. But at the top, you know, faculty or staff member, what your role is, your name. It's very important that you put your email address on there, because that's so that you can get a copy of the alert. So for your records, so that you maintain that you did this on behalf of the student, you need to put your email address on that. The next part is the student information. The most important part is the student ID. For it to be able to be tracked in Target X, we have to have the student ID. So you're probably going to have your roster or whatever and be able to look at that. If there's ever a point where you don't know a student ID or you don't know how to get that information, you can always call Student Success and Persistence, and we will help find that information. But we do have to have the student ID number in order to link it in Target X so that we can see the whole picture of what's going on with the student. The course information, we do need you to do, you're going to have to type in the course. If it's in a specific course, you are going to have to type in the prefix and the course number for us. We had hoped that it would be a drop-down menu, but it got way too big, and it was going to take a way more time for you to dig through the course menu than anything else than just to type in what it is. If the alert is not coming from a class, it's because you had an interaction in the office or something, you would just leave this blank at this point. This is just if it's affiliated with a specific class. How you rank the alert, that's just your opinion. The date of the alert, make sure you put that on. If something happened 2 weeks ago, but you're just now doing the alert, that should be explained in the comments. So like if today you're submitting the alert, but 2 weeks ago is when the assignment was due, you probably need to explain some of those discrepancies in this, because again, the students are going to be able to see that. And then the next two boxes are the primary concern, which I already went over, and the secondary concern, and the comment box. And then there'll be a submit button. At the very top, there is a way for you to save your progress. It's going to ask for you to set a password. It's just your password. You're going to have to remember that. So if you're working on several and you want to stop, you can save your work and then come back to it. Do not call us, though, and ask for your password, because we will have no way of knowing it. So just make sure you remember that. You can always reset it if you need to. It's easy. But that's how that works. Let's talk Student Success Center. What we have done is it's kind of an extension of some of the lessons we've learned through FAST, and some of the feedback that we've gotten through that is how we have developed what the student success teams should be. That's really the natural evolution where we're moving, because we really want to connect students with staff, faculty, who can help them get from enrollment to graduation, because that's our goal. And so we've created what's going to be called student success teams. On a student success teams, the number one person is their academic advisor. They are being assigned an academic advisor. That happens at the admissions side. They're going to meet with their advisor. That same person is going to then carry over with them. If they're at a site, the advisor will be linked to be the site director. We will still utilize Eagles on Call for all of that as well. We have a process for that happening. So that's the first member of their success team, is their academic advisor. In Student Success and Persistence, we will be a member. We will own every student out there, so that whether that be tutoring or other things that we need to do for them, we will be doing that. Based on a student's degree plan, what they have selected as a degree plan, departments will be members of the success team. So if a student is, a business degree major, the business area will be a member of that student success team. If, though, a student has selected an undecided, they have not selected a major, they will be owned by the Career Center in that center. And the reason they are done by the Career Center is because that area now will take responsibility for developing a communication plan, getting them in, exposing them to those different areas, and trying to very quickly within that first semester get them pointed to, into a degree plan, because we all know how important that is. And so they will take on that role. We've also, if a student is in any developmental class, the developmental studies area will have a piece with them and be able to see those students and will be on their team. The idea is that those people know that we need to get people through the developmental series as quickly as possible. They are the ones that need to know who those students are, when a student is having a concern and an issue, being able to see that, and so then they will be a member of that. We can add to these success teams as we grow and evolve and change and we realize what a student needs. Financial aid has indicated they want to be a member of the student success team because they already assign, which I didn't even know that, financial aid counselors to each student, and so they want to be on a success team, that's great. We can look at scholarship students, we can look at residence hall students. So as we develop this, it's going to be a work in progress because it's a huge undertaking and we're going to have to chunk it and go piece by piece and get everybody on board what we need to happen. I have some key people in my office. If you don't know who they are, it's Mariana Zavala. They're at the back of the room, and Charlotte Wesley. They are key to all of this, working with me on this. Charlotte is actually going to kind of take on some of the student success team, and you're going to probably be getting information from her about meetings that we need to start having and how we're going to work. Because, you know, yeah, I have some ideas, but I don't need to be the one that's running this. It needs to be, we need to take this as a team approach, a collaborative approach. How are we helping our students get from enrollment to completion, because that's what we have to be about. We all have to, that has to be our #1 goal. And so that's what we're going to do through this, and we need your feedback, we need your ideas, and how we can make that happen. Couple things I want to mention. I've probably gone way longer than you wanted. We have online tutoring starting this semester in the academic studio. You'll be getting information about that as well. So if you teach an online class or if you're at a site, that is something that we are starting this semester. Yay. We're going to get you information about that, but I wanted you to know that that's something that's happening. #2, we are short tutors right now in the academic studio. They are critical to what we do. We're down about 7 or 8, and we really need, if you have great students in your classes that really are academically talented, would you please encourage them to go onto the HR site and apply? We need your help. And if you have good students that do this, this is a great part-time job, great experience, particularly if they're wanting to do anything in academics, academic affairs, student affairs, anything like that. This is a great step forward, so please help us. We would so appreciate it. Questions? Yes.
I think you have described. There you go. Thank you. My question is as follows. You have very nicely described from a bureaucratic perspective what student success means. For us faculty, we look at it from a student's performance perspective.
Right.
To tie it back to what both Dr. Garrett and I believe even Dr. Ada had mentioned, to tie, therefore, what we do with what the marketplace is, which is the industry. The industry requests, 89% of managers request as #1 skill, critical thinking skills of students, which we will be failing to develop if we go back to the fast food education that OpenStack resources are. Most of where the learning, in my opinion, comes from as an instructor at CTC for over 30 years now, or close to it, is that students are not capable of digesting the information we provide and leapfrog, which we call critical thinking skills, or make inferences to apply to the real world that surrounds them. And I don't think that OpenStack or any of the bureaucratic processes are gearing towards that. And therefore, we're going to be digging further disconnects between what the marketplace requires from our students, especially in business and the field that I teach, for example, and what the administrative bureaucratic processes wants us to do. Thank you very much.
And I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. And I'm not going to be able to solve that. I'm going to be honest with you. But I can tell you one of the things that we're hoping to provide you with is better data better information about what's going on in your classes, us to have better information too. Like if a student does not have that, and you did have to, a student did not do well in that class, but this is what the real issue is, we need that information. Right now we don't have a place to collect that and to know what's going on so that we can make alterations, that we can make changes, or better talk to a student about the reality of what they need to be doing. If they aren't ready for a program that they think that this is the best thing that they need to be in, and this kind of touches on guided pathways, which all of this plays into. Part of what the student success team, what our job is to have that difficult conversation with the student that says, okay, this is what this program is going to require, or this is what this requires. Can you do that? Because this is what your grades tell us. This is what's going on. Maybe we need to change you. Maybe we need to do something different. And I think that's where we haven't been able to have those conversations. We don't have the right people involved in that process, and it's about pushing people into a degree and whatever, as opposed to, when problems like that come up, being able to really have a conversation and redirect and do that. And I think that's where some of our discussions need to go, and how we do that, how we develop that. I want your feedback as faculty, where the problems are, what we need to be doing from student success. I don't have all the answers right now, but I'm open to it. I don't know if anybody else. Anything else? Yes.
I have just a couple of comments. Interdisciplinary studies, because that's really where they.
A really loud voice, but okay. My question is about the whole academic advising side of it. I love this. Thank you, by the way. I really do. It's easy to click on that link and to give the feedback that you ask for. And it would be so easy to just go ahead and do it for every student across the board. So I'm just curious why we can't, if it's possible, to hook this to the whole concept of academic advising, because isn't this the data?
Yeah, this is the academic advisors. All the student success team members are going to be able to see these alerts when they go in, and they're going to be able to see it.
Well, I'm talking about more about the academic advising system that we're using to advise students through.
Okay.
I don't even know how to ask my question. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about how we have to.
Are you combining? Are you confusing the FAST? Are you confusing FAST with this?
Yes,
okay.
I am. So,
and we're getting a lot of that, and don't confuse those two yet. These are two separate things right now.
But that's my question right there.
But
why is it?
It's not going to be long term.
Okay.
It's not going to be long term, because the idea is, if you look at what FAST is all about, FAST is about helping faculty members connect in a meaningful way with our students. Well, that is what the student success teams are. So what we're doing is we're taking the lessons that we learned in FAST and expanding it. We want it to go beyond the first semester. We want it not just to be the faculty to be a key part, but to grow it. And so those lessons and those things that we have learned, that's what's gotten us to this point. And so I'm thankful for that. But understand, through the QEP, we can't right now let FAST go. It's going to be an evolution. It's going to be a process. Bear with me. I have heard you. I know the frustrations. This is where we're going. It makes way more sense.
Awesome.
We have to do the QEP through SACS, and our program was FAST. It is coming up for review end of 2019, 2020. So it's going to be reviewed. The committee, we've already started talking about what that's going to happen. This is going to become a huge part of what we tell SACS, where we're transitioning, the lessons that we've learned, what we've gotten out of that, why all of that's happening. We want your interactions with students to be more meaningful. We want them to be more long-term. The idea is that we want you as departments to develop relationships with your students that are in your degree programs. That's all the retention data tells us. The students have to have a relationship with their departments and their faculty. That's where we're going with this, is to give you that information so that you know what's going on with them. So that's where we're going with this. Please bear with me. Let us get there. That's all I ask. But you now know what the vision is and where we're going. Yes.
And so does this
Absolutely. Are you talking about like if you have a concern about a personal issue? Yeah, what you can do is one of the options is behavioral or a personal issue, and you can do that. Again, the student is going to see this, so if you don't want to go into detail about a personal issue, you don't have to. You can just leave the comments blank, but I would ask that you follow back up with this so that we know where we need to refer it, because those referrals will be made to the counseling staff. These referrals will be made for our disciplinary. So absolutely you can do personal and behavioral referrals as well. Really anything that you have, we want to know what it is. The one thing I'm going to tell you though is you're going to get, because you're filling these out on students are going to go back and talk to you. I would encourage you, if you are going to fill out an alert on a student, have the conversation with the student, pull them out after class and have the conversation. I'm going to submit this because I'm worried about you. That goes a long way towards us developing those relationships that we need to be developing. Okay? All right. I'm available over in the academic studio. If you have any questions, come see me, call me. I'll answer all your questions, or somebody on in my area will be happy to do that. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you so much. We're very grateful for you all to come this morning, and we know we need more horizontal communication. We know we need the big picture to understand what happens at CTC, so it's very nice of you to take time, because I know what your busy schedules are, to come and to share all that information with us. Before we take a break, let me just kind of explain a few things that are going on. We are being recorded for some of the sites, and so that's one of the reasons why when you start talking, we want to run over to you with a mic, or you can step up to one of the mics up front, because otherwise your question is not picked up, and we want to be sure that people at the sites that need the same kind of training can hear everything. The second thing is there were actually 2 sign-ins out front, and some of you may have seen that, and some of you may have walked past it. But the first sign-in is for the general in-service session, which will give you your professional development hours these 2 days. The second sign-in was a breakout into 3 sections that we will have tomorrow. And you can sign up for any of those, one of those 3, but let me kind of explain what they are. The first breakout is on task stream, because, which probably involves chairs more than anyone else, unless the chairs have designated that responsibility to somebody in the department. But task stream is due on the 19th of January, and we thought if anybody's struggling with that or hasn't had time to finish that, that would be a good working opportunity for you with someone there to help you, and you'll be meeting in one of the computer labs in the computer science building, 121. There's, I think, 32 seats available for that. Let me see. Yeah, 32 seats available for that. And once those 32 seats are gone, then it's full. The second session is a session with DEET. They have been developing some online courses. The courses that they're developing are in line with what we're going to be talking about with Texas Pathways, and they probably will be mandatory sometime this year. So it's a chance for you to get started on a course. You probably will not be able to finish it in 2 hours, but it'll at least give you an idea of some of the things they're offering. There's 66 seats available in that session, and that also will be in the computer science building and is on your agenda. And again, when that's full, it's full. Anyone else that does not get into those 2 sessions or prefers the 3rd session, because we do need people on the 3rd session, the 3rd session will be in this room, and it will be we will be breaking into 5 groups in this room. They will be working groups working on Texas Pathways, something that is mandated by the state. We need to get people involved, and we are starting on the tasks that have been assigned in our area that involve the faculty. So all 3 of those are useful working sessions, and if you haven't signed up for them, you can sign up for them anytime today or even tomorrow morning, or if you want to change your mind about something now that I've talked a little bit about it, you can do that too and take your name off one and put it on another. But the first 2 have limited seating, the second one is unlimited seating. So with that, let's take a break.